first podcast.
Oh, that's what you meant with Lägg om.
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, welcome to the podcast. I'm Robert, your host, and my co-host Christian.
Yes, I'm here.
And today we have a special guest co-host as well.
Yes, that's right.
Eric.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
And our guests today is Lea Larsson.
Hello, nice to be here.
Yes, drummer in Metalite.
Metalite, yes.
Among other things.
Among other things.
Lots of other things.
Yes.
And we got Hank Erix.
Hey.
Most of you people know you from Houston.
Yeah.
Not the city. Maybe you've been there too.
No.
The band.
People are
And
always
not
the
problem.
They're very
Houston, we have a problem.
They're very eager to tell me that I have a problem.
Well, do you?
No, never heard it before.
Was it a Houston concert in Chicago? No, it was a Chicago concert in Houston.
I actually got somebody emailed me wanting us to do a wedding gig, and I don't think. I'm not sure how he found us, because I don't think he knows who we are. He just needed a band, and he's like based in Houston. So he's
Houston bands.
so weird. Yeah, Houston the band. I'm like,
Yeah.
okay.
That's what
the band in Houston.
Maybe he googled Houston the band and thought there's one band in Houston and I'm gonna get them.
And they're very expensive
Yeah.
because we have to fly from Sweden.
All right, so Lea, let's get to know you a bit better.
Okay,
I
yes.
mean, we do play in the same band,
Yes, we do.
so we met at least 2 times last year.
Yeah,
last 2
I think
years.
you came to at least 2 rehearsals last year.
Well, you know, I'm a
But
bit
there
busy.
was a pandemic also.
Right.
Yeah.
We did one live stream show. Right?
We released 2 albums during the pandemic. Well, the first one was like we had a release party,
Yes.
and then there was the pandemic.
Can you check the source on this?
I think
How many albums?
think
have you?
I'm correct.
Yeah, I think so too.
I don't know, but then we released another album
Yeah.
during the pandemic.
We'll just keep releasing them.
Yeah, we produce.
Yeah. So, but I want to know, like, how did you start playing drums? Like, what got you into music? And
I come from a music family to begin with, but they didn't play that much. But I knew we had it in our family, and my older brother was very musical. He was he played key harp. He was into middle-age music, like medieval music. So he played key harp, and he played vad fan heter sickpipa, bagpipe. Yeah, and he played all these horns and everything, and I think I got inspired.
Only the obscure instruments also.
Yeah, but I didn't get inspired by the instrument, but I got more inspired by he also listened a lot to grunge music, because this was 91 something. So I remember the first CD I ever bought was Far Beyond Driven with Pantera. And my mother paid for it, and she's raised Muslim, and she was this on the cover of the album,
I was gonna say.
there's a skull with a corkscrew penetrating it, and I was like,
Isn't it like a
I want
drill?
this one, Mom.
No
She was
objection there.
No, and I was yes.
And the first track, Strings Beyond Strength,
Yeah.
it just kicks you right in the
So
the
that's
stomach.
actually I started listening to that because I got overwhelmed by the sound. I was mind fucked when I heard it the first time, so I had to buy it. And then started to play the drums. I also I started playing piano when I was 8, and then I played guitar and I played bass, but I wanted to start playing drums. So I got to borrow a drum kit from my cousin's husband, Johan Kihlberg, who's in Impera.
Right.
So I got to borrow a kit. I don't know, I think he said he borrowed it from Ian Haugland from Europe. Cool. So that was my first drum kit.
But he's left-handed. How did you figure out how to play it?
Oh yeah, that's weird. I inverted it. I turned it inside out. And
So how old were you at this moment?
I think I was 14 or 15 when I started playing. So I've been
Right.
playing for like 25 years.
So if I remember it right, the release of Patera record was like 94.
Yeah, I think
yeah.
so. So about that time I started playing.
So was
Maybe a
Pantera-
year later.
So was Pantera and Vinnie Paul then? Obviously,
Yeah,
yes,
exactly. But the biggest influence I had was a band called Seven Dust.
Okay.
So that's where I got most of my playing, because I never went to a drum school or something. I just learned by listening to music and playing along.
Right.
So that's how I learned playing drums. I didn't go to like a music school until I was like 22 or something.
Okay.
So, and then I went for a couple of years and they tried to teach me to play jazz, and that didn't work out well. But it was very nice. So then I just kept on going.
And at what I know, you guys used to run into each other in the past.
Yeah.
I just
did.
found that out quite
We worked
recently.
Did you
You
work
worked.
there? I worked there and you were
worked
there rehearsing or what?
No,
Where was this?
I did like praktik. I practiced because I went to school, socialpedagog,
Like job
Because
Because
training.
this was
Yeah.
like a
VFU.
this was like a communal house for
Yeah.
kids where they could go and have a rehearsal studio and they can have music lessons.
Mhm.
And it was also a fritidsgård. I don't know what you
Yeah.
call that in English, but where you go after school.
Yeah.
Yeah. And they had a concert local and stuff.
It was a great concert.
It was.
Was that Huset?
Huset in Huddinge.
All right.
Who's it in
Yeah.
Huddinge? So I was there for a few weeks, and you worked there, and your ex-girlfriend,
Yeah, my ex-wife maybe.
your ex-wife, yeah. You played in Imber then.
Yeah.
You were great in Imber.
Yeah, the Imber.
And,
It was a good
I
band.
had a crush on me as well, I think.
A lot of people did.
Yes, I know. I was not the only one.
So how did you end up there? And what got you into music?
Well, girls, I think. No. But there was actually a girl when I went to like second or third class or something. She played clarinet, and I wanted to play saxophone because I wanted to be close to her, I guess. And then she quit, and I was stuck with my saxophone and my teacher. But there was a drum set there, and we started playing drums instead, like
cool.
before and after class, and then it became all drums. And then after a while, my teacher was like, I can teach you anymore because I'm not a drum teacher, so you have to get another teacher. So we set that up, and I got another teacher. And it was that old Russian guy, and he hit me with the drumsticks when I played made mistakes, and he could take 2 drumsticks, and he strangled me with them a few times.
What?
Yeah, so I quit.
You mean a Russian guy was aggressive?
Yeah, how
I never heard of
could that
such a
be?
thing.
I thought we said we wouldn't go in.
Sorry,
We're not going to go there.
No, but so that was really weird. So I quit that. But then I wanted to play guitar. So I liked drums, but I wanted to play music, more notes.
But drums is the coolest instrument, though.
I know.
Yeah. Just so
That's where I started.
we're on the same track.
That's where I started. I
Agreed
think
on
it's
that
really
one.
good to start out with drums because they have a good sense of rhythm.
Yeah.
And always when in school when we played music at Fryshuset Gymnasium, I always had to give the tempo and shake up. So it was good. It was good to start with.
I had no idea that you could also play drums. Actually.
No, I'm not that good. I haven't played for years, but I had a yellow pearl set.
Okay, cool.
Yeah, it was so beautiful.
So did you get into a band at this time or later?
Yeah, I had a band called Blood Dogs when I was in 4th grade.
Who came up with that name?
I don't know, but it was kind of cool.
What genre was
Blood
this?
Dogs. We played one cover of Blur song too.
And that was your repertoire. That's a great song, though.
Yeah, and it's the beat that's the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will never forget that.
But isn't it true that song is just such a tease because none of their other songs sound anything like it?
Yeah.
So you're like, wow, this band is so cool, and you listen to it, like, oh, it was just one song.
Yeah.
But I didn't really know how to I wasn't even old enough to buy music. I just found Blur on some collect CD or Absolute Music or something, and we liked it.
But Blur, I mean, that's a bit later though. Wasn't that like mid-90s?
96, 97 or something like
Yeah,
that.
probably.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
but I'm not as old as I.
Oh.
I'm born in '87.
I actually had to show my ID when I bought beer today. I'm really proud of that.
Congratulations.
Yeah, but the long story short, I played guitar and stuff, and then nobody heard the songs I was playing, so I had to start singing, and all of a sudden I had talent for singing, so I just kept on doing that.
Did it come like natural for you to stand behind the mic, start singing?
It was easier, and I wanted I wanted to be in
the front guy.
Yeah, I wanted to be in the front. I like theater, and I was doing a lot of like stuff like that. So I wanted to be in the front. Maybe I would have learned more like singing in choir and stuff like people do, but I never done that. Done it more now later, but
Maybe the feedback was because you're far away from the mic. Yeah, you can have it.
Okay.
Oh yes. Does it work for the camera, you think?
Yeah.
But did you ever do live? Like if you were into a theater, did you do like live?
Yes, I was in Alby Fame. There was like a theater school.
I mean live. Live? Alltså gick på live?
No, I never did live stuff. No. There was some people did it in my class, but no, I never did.
So did the Blood Dogs or Blood Dog?
Blood Dogs.
Did that turn into another band, or were you in between bands?
I mean, Tumba, where I grew up, I realized that there was a lot of people who made music in Tumba, but I never met anyone. So I was always the only one playing music, like one more guy. And I have my first band was like Love Stain.
Oh, cool.
So it was kind of my like first band, and it was in 2008, 2009. So it was quite late. So I never had a band. I always wanted to have one.
Yeah.
But it was first after the gymnasium when I got.
I can really relate to that. Trying to set up like your first band, trying to find musicians, and you feel like you're the only one playing, and you go to try to find ads, and it's just the same people, and it can be really difficult. And once you're in it, you find more musicians all around, obviously. But in the beginning, it's really tough. Did you have this experience?
The thing is, when I started the gymnasium, I was put in a golf class.
Oh, brilliant!
Yeah, to play. Like everyone in my gymnasium class was golfers, and they had golfing on their schedule during the day.
Wow.
Except me and 3 other persons, and all of these other 3 persons had like In Flames t-shirts and The Haunted t-shirts and Refused and stuff, and I was like,
maybe that's a good idea.
Yeah. So when these my classmates went to golf practice, we just skipped school and went to the music studio, and we just played. And we just started a band, and we just kept on playing. And when we were 18 or 19, we got our first record deal.
What?
Right.
So that's how I started playing, like playing drums in bands before I played guitar in bands.
But was that Imber?
No, that was no.
What band was that?
That was a band called Votur.
Okay.
Yeah,
Sounds
I think it's
like
very hard to
Iceland.
find, but you can
Icelandic.
find it on like obscure pages on the internet. This is like 98.
What kind
or
of
something.
genre was this?
It was very like Gothenburg melodic metal, like
Gothenburg
In
sound,
Flames.
melodic metal.
Yeah, exactly.
Was there any
with
other
Icelandic-
musicians that
Yeah. So and then we started playing more like hardcore, like doom music. Like we got very influenced by a band called Breach.
Right.
You ever heard of it?
Yeah, like in 90s band.
It's like sludge metal,
Right.
You know, and we just hammered it. And then we moved in together, the band. So we were living in a collective, the whole band, and we just went rehearsing every night, and we just had the best like time of our lives. It was we just partied, rehearsed, went to work, hangover, and just.
Did you do a lot of shows at this time?
We did actually, but it was it was small shows, like not club gigs. I mean, we were barely legal age back then.
Big
We
age,
were
yeah.
like 18, 19. But we played some in Stockholm and stuff, but mostly like in fritidsgårdar, you know, like
Yeah.
school stuff and stuff like that.
Was there any other members who's still active musically today?
Yes. One of them, Jake, there was a guitarist, really good guitarist called Jake Sandén. And he has actually released an album not long ago, like 2 years ago. It's really, really good. You just search his name, Jake Sandén.
Yep. Okay.
It's really good. He was the guitar, and he was writing a lot of the songs back then too. Yeah, but I think the other ones, well, Max was the bass player, and he's been really into like hardcore now, the latest years. It's really cool.
Did you ever do any singing?
No, not in that band. I
What?
did sing. The first band I played with, I
Yeah.
played guitar and sang.
Oh, what?
Yeah.
That's cool.
Well,
Well, did you do any demos from that? Or is
even
there
if I
anything
did,
out
I'm
there?
not gonna tell you.
Is there an old MySpace page that we can find?
There could be.
Get a research team on that.
Yeah.
I have a question for Hank.
Mhm.
I did some research on the internet, and I read that you had like a demo band before Houston, and you were doing support acting on the club Harry B. James in Stockholm. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, I mean, whenever there was a band who would play, they needed a young band that brought some people and played almost for free. So that's basically what we did. We were called Love Stain. It was it was where me and Sofian met, who is still in Houston. One band. And so we played like Pretty Boy Floyd played there a few times, and I think we supported them every time. What else was it?
How often was this? Was this like once a month, or
Yeah, probably once a month.
All right.
Like it was some weird thing. We actually we didn't even have a demo. We didn't have anything. We just never. Whenever we were about to record a demo, we just we grow tired of the songs. We did new songs, or we changed the songs because we hung out and we rehearsed so much. So everything was like accelerating so quickly.
After playing all these shows, months and months, did you get like an audience, or?
Yeah, so we had the first gig we did. It was a Wednesday, the 1st of April in Harry B. James, 2009.
You remember this?
Yeah, because we have like the poster, because we put it like 100 posters inside of Harry B. James, like on the bathrooms, like everywhere, and outside, and then we did like a Facebook event for it, and we had like 300 people says they were coming, and like 900 interesting or maybe or something. It was insane, and Dave and everybody else from Harry B. James, they were like, what is this? Who are these guys? So so I think we had 300 people on the Wednesday on Harry B. James.
Cool.
Because we were like, everybody we knew were like, you have to come see. So we really did the work. And I mean, you can do that like once, maybe twice, but then everybody grow tired of.
Well, that's
so.
building up a hype.
Yeah, so we really managed to do that, and they were like, because the staff were like, what the fuck have you done? I mean, this was supposed to be a slow night for me, and now I had like 300 people, and they need to call more staff and more guards and everything. So
Did you try to get like a record deal with Lovestain at this time?
Yeah, we tried it. We always wanted to sign with Frontiers back then. It was the dream.
Yeah.
Back then, and we looked around and stuff. But
Most of you have now.
we fought. We loved each other so much, but we also fought a lot, and we were like
Separate ways.
Yeah, and we went separate ways somewhere. But we are, most of us still hang out.
Yeah, so the members of Lovestain was you, Sofian, who's in Houston, and
Fabes and Marcus. Marcus and Sofian is in Reach now.
Yep.
And Sofian is still with me. Fabes, I don't know. He plays guitar.
I actually
in
know.
your band.
Yeah, well, he's. I don't know if this is official.
That was the funny
actually.
thing about the fans of the Dark album. That
Yeah.
Freddie needed some musician. He was like, I don't know anyone, so he called exactly the people that played in Houston when he left. So it's Sofian, it's Fabes. He wanted and it's in on drums, etc. with his Angelica, the band with his girlfriend.
All right.
I don't know. Murder of My Sweet.
Ah, okay.
I think he played on that as well. Well, so and here we are. So that was what we did on Hybrid James. So I think I've played there at least 100 times.
Then you formed Houston around 2009 or something.
Yeah, they start Freddie and Dave and Ricky, and they started to put the album together, and they needed someone to sing it, and they found me right when they were like recording the drums for the first album in 2009. Lucky me, lucky them.
So, but you have made some lineup changes through the years also.
Yeah, as many bands do.
Yes.
We've all
like the
been
first
there.
guy, like the first guys were really good, but they're really good, but they want to do other stuff. I see like Erix, the first guitarist we had, I think he played with Ges now in Circus.
Wow.
And do stuff like that. And he played like, I saw him on På Spåret playing with some band, and I played with John Lundvik. So he plays
he's like a studio musician.
Yeah. Then that's all he wanted to do. Like, when we were starting to get the London shows back in 2011 and go to England and stuff like that, they couldn't come. So because they have, oh no, I'm going to play with Lil Bob, so I can't come.
So cool.
So it was stuff like that. So we had to get some other members. Then we had Filippa from Thunder Mother,
Right.
and Helena Alstred, who sings on Truth Slips. So we had they were two girl guitarists, and me, Sofian, Freddie, and Jocke, Jay on keyboards. And it was really cool. I mean, it was not as slick as we are now. When I think we have found like the perfect lineup for Houston, but it was really cool. Like it was very different. But the label didn't like that we had two girls on guitars.
Really?
What? Why?
Yeah, they thought, I don't know. They thought it wasn't.
Because they were only good for being girls?
Probably something like that. I mean, I wasn't
That's
in
so
charge in the
weird.
band. Freddie was like the sole leader of the band, and like so they wanted us to get two other guitarists, two guys. They need to be young, they need to be skinny, and play good guitar.
To go to the next level.
That was Frontier. No, that was Universal back when we were signed to Universal and Spine Farm. So
It's fun that they
But-
get such a specific idea of what they need.
But they usually have that. Like the record, I don't think it's like that as much now, but it was during the 90s and the early 2000s. It was, and also, of course, back in history, it was always like the record companies has like they have a picture of what they want.
Yeah.
And then you have to fit into that picture because they think that like this is I'm right, and you have to be like this, otherwise we're not signing you.
Yeah, but how are you going to find anything unique if you already have the mold and you're going to try to
And
fit
it's a bit of a narcissistic way to look at like the music industry, like I'm right and everybody else has to do what I say because I'm right.
Or they find some band that sounds unique, and then they want to change it.
Yeah.
and probably make it less unique.
Yeah. Like I have the blueprint. Let's put the pieces together. And
I heard rumors for like Crash Diet, for instance, that the label wanted them to change their logo, their iconic logo. But they refused, and now it's the reason they're selling so much merchandise. Probably.
I produced a talk show on like 2021 World Pride, the Pride Festival.
Yes.
World Pride was in Copenhagen and Malmö in Sweden. So I hosted a talk show. And I invited guests that's not like the norm metal, man. So I invited guests that's like trans or women or gay or something that's out of the norm in the metal industry, and just talked about like the macho norm and why it's so few women in the metal industry and why is it? How come it's like this? How is it hard to be like gay in the metal scene? Because I mean, the first gay person in metal was first open one was probably Rob Halford, or
That's
I don't know
one. I'm not sure. I suppose in metal.
But I mean, a lot of
maybe Freddie Mercury.
a lot of these things with like leather and studs and everything, it comes from the gay clubs.
Yeah, sure.
It comes from, and
The gay
also,
scene.
exactly. And but it's still so much taboo.
Yeah.
And the audience doesn't have the taboo. It's the record companies and the business people that has the taboos. So you don't get pushed forward. You don't get any gigs. So if you're a complete like with Imber, for instance, the reason we started Imber, or the reason I started Imber, was to get a band that was a good role model to get young women to start playing. That was the main thing with Imber. Like, I just wanted to inspire young girls or young people that was not in the norm. But it's so hard.
How
It's
would you
fucking
describe it today? Do you see like a difference?
I think it's better. And on the talk show, I had a lot of guests that's, for instance, transgender or just women or homosexual or whatever. And they say that it's getting better. But it's still, no one is talking about it. And no one is like including people. Like, for instance, with Imber, we were trying to get booked on Sweden Rock Festival. And I mean, the first year we sent in a demo, and it was a pretty good demo, like professionally produced, and it was really, really good. Yeah. And they said, sorry, we already booked a female band. And there were 70 acts on Sweden Rock Festival, and they already booked one female act.
Like it's a
so the quote
special
is
genre.
It sounds like Melodifestivalen.
Yeah,
like,
it does.
And we already have one rock band this year.
Exactly.
It's enough.
Yeah.
Exactly. And it's like, we have this picture of what this is.
We don't have time.
We don't want to go outside our little tiny box. And still they say like, can you think outside the box? And we're like, our box is this big, your box is this big. We don't have to think outside the box.
But it's also, I think you're also correcting what you said earlier, that I mean, the audience doesn't care.
No, they love it.
It's not like people, oh man, I got a 4-day ticket and now there's 3 girl bands. I'm not going this year.
And they're like,
who
no,
cares?
no.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've seen the industry from both sides, you know, and I know like you come from underneath when you're a woman in metal. Like, you have to prove yourself and you have to be better than everybody else. Yes. Yeah. Because I've been a really good drummer once in my life, and then I was like degraded to being good for being a woman.
Right.
So I've seen it from the both sides. Yeah. So one of my earlier bands, we had a girl playing drums. And when you're in the band, I mean, you rehearse every week. You don't even think about it, really. No. But then when we had shows, so many of like our friends, or sometimes our parents would come up to her like, "Oh, you were so good. Yeah. You were amazing." Exactly. And she got offended because you do, actually. And not only because of the way they said it, because, I mean, she knew she wasn't amazing. And that's not to slag her off. None of us were. We weren't an amazing band. We were pretty good. Yeah. And she was pretty good. Yeah. But we were still young and learning. Yeah. And so when someone came up like, "Oh, you're amazing." Yeah. She knew that they said that because they expected her to not be able to do it at all. Yeah, but the thing is, when they say that, I've learned now, like, they mean well. They mean well, yeah, obviously. And they just want to push you and give you good feedback and keep you playing. Yeah, sure. I mean, it's not a bad thing, like, but it's the unconscious bias that makes them say like that. Yeah, like, tilt their head, put their hand on your shoulder and say, "Wow, that was so good." But in a way, it's like the way you talk to a baby, and that's, I suppose.
I think I noticed when we were playing like the Herbie James, or we did like other gigs than that. But at first, when people saw us, they were seeing us a demo band. And they were like, "Wow, you're amazing!" In the same thing, and then when you like play bigger and bigger stuff, then it changes. Like, you're amazing for being a demo band, and then the expectations they change depending where you are. And all of a sudden, I played Sweden Rock Festival, and then I was compared to to all the other bands, to Ozzy Osbourne and Whitesnake and the Steelheart that played on the same slot as we did and stuff like that.
That's rough.
And yeah, it was rough. And then you're compared to them all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So all of the time you hear that you're amazing, you're really good, and then all of a sudden you could like get less good reviews and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Now we did get a good review for the gig at Sweden Rock, but other gigs, like, and especially in England where they're much more like mean and sarcastic
Really?
writing. Yeah, it's
not just good
they are
humor.
over there.
no. They're more like Houston musical Marmite tip and stuff like that. I mean, so either you love it or you don't, etc., etc. I mean, they always sound, even if they're giving you compliments or they like your album, they like it a lot, but they're still like, it's pretty good. I mean, they have to write it in a like demeaning way or mean way. I don't know if you feel like that, Eric, because we're in the same genre.
It was pretty hard.
British reviews.
Pretty hard to tell. Well, I haven't read many British reviews except for the reviews we had when we were playing a festival in England. But that gig was not the best gig that we did because a lot of technical difficulties. That wasn't our fault. We had no monitoring at all and stuff like that. So it was parts of that gig felt like a complete train wreck for a few of us, and that affected the performance. So those reviews could have been better.
Wildness. It's more like a wild mess.
Yeah, it actually said something like that.
Really?
Yeah, but that's something they could write. I have a perfect example. We played Download Festival back in 2011, and Dave Ling, like he's a legendary reviewer or some sort. He's very famous, and he like was in Kerrang
Ask him, he'll
and
tell
stuff
you.
like that. Yeah,
No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, exactly. And he went to see us there, and he reviewed it, and he was like, "Yeah, no, this wasn't that good, etc., etc." And then we played Firefest a few months after, and then he said, "Oh, this gig wasn't especially good. It was nothing like their amazing gig at Download Festival."
Make up your
So
mind.
he like, yeah, and he like refers to the gig that he didn't like in the summer, but then all of a sudden he did. So it's like it seems like they're finding ways to like just slow knife that cuts deep.
Every now and then you can almost read between the lines that a reviewer has sort of made up their mind.
Yeah, exactly.
In
And
advance.
that's why you shouldn't take reviews of live shows or bands too serious. And it's like, really, it doesn't really give a shit if you get a bad review. The only thing that matters is what the listeners think.
Well, usually you know what you want to get across on stage. And if you know that you succeeded against your own goals, then you were successful, whether or not anybody liked it, I suppose. And if you know you messed up a couple of songs, then you know, well, that wasn't my best show. So it doesn't really matter what someone else writes. I actually framed a few old clippings, and one of them was from a Status Quo show I went to, because this was when I started going to concerts, and I had so much fun. It was such a great show. They're the masters of boogie rock. Like, the whole arena was just boogieing along to the rhythm, and we were all just having so much fun, everyone at that arena. And the reviewer wrote, he wrote that the middle-aged men that are standing in a circle playing air guitar doesn't realize how lousy this is. And I'm like, so you mean everybody in the arena doesn't realize how lousy it is, and you do?
Who was it? Was it Anders Lokko?
No, it was Per Bjurman.
Oh,
You're listening.
Narcissist.
Yeah.
Right.
But
Fuck
I
you,
mean-
Per.
Yeah.
But even if I would go to a sold out Ullevi, like watching Håkan Hellström, which I can honestly say I'm not a big fan, but I wouldn't say like this is crap, because clearly he's entertaining 50,000
the
people.
thing is, if everyone says it's awesome and you think it's not good at all,
It's just not for
maybe
you.
you should assume that you're wrong.
Yeah, or at the very least, like,
Maybe you're
this is
not
not
right.
for me. Like,
Yeah.
That's quite interesting, because I'm not really sure if a reviewer would think that this concert actually sucks. I'm not really sure that he or her would actually dare to write that.
No.
Because because you would be pretty left alone with that opinion.
Yeah.
Compared to the other people who attended that concert.
But Robert, lucky us always getting good reviews.
Yes,
Really?
both shows.
Yeah.
No, I'm just kidding.
Just because your looks.
Yeah, it is.
I have a question for both of you, and I think we should start with Hank this time and then move forward. I would like you to describe your music for the listeners, viewers, and from the first album and how it developed today.
Yeah. Okay. So the first album was like we had Foreigners 4 album as the reference. So it's always been there's always been a Survivor-ish. I mean, I always joke about that. Like I made 4 albums or 6 albums in their honor. So the first album was very much Foreigner and Survivor, and I know Ricky, who produced most of our albums. He always loved Jim Steinman, who did the Meatloaf stuff.
Right.
So all those angelic choirs stuff, like Jim did for a lot of artists. We wanted to bring that too into our music. And then we did Relaunch and Houston 2. I mean, Houston 2 would be more. It was more straightforward. It was a little bit different in production, but I'm not sure what we had for reference by then.
So Houston 2 was your third album?
Yeah.
That's amazing.
It's that's confusing. I thought you would say. Yeah, but because the Relaunch albums were we did our own music on it too, but mostly it was in between albums. The idea was to take music that we liked that never became famous, but it's like iconic songs and obscure AOR music, and we wanted to give them a relaunch to maybe give them their the chance that the song deserved. So and we actually did that with Dakota's Runaway, because nobody heard it before, and now it's a popular song, and and they actually reunited to make a new album because the success of their song that we did a cover of.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And because we did get, I think it's like 90 million views on YouTube now.
Was that the Red Bull thing?
Yeah, it's a Red Bull thing. So I usually say it's our most expensive music video.
And one other thing, is it for you guys that the last album is the best album, or do you look back in your catalog?
No, I do feel that right now. I mean, we get some hate for Houston 3 because it's also the first album which Ricky didn't produce, so it sounds different because we went separate ways. But it's actually a really good album, and I sing really good at the third album. I mean, I feel more confident on that album than the other albums, and it was like the other albums I did what everybody wanted me to do. More or less. I wanted to make everybody happy. And then on the third, when it was me who were in charge of the band, I wanted to do it my way. But it was also different with the songs. So now 4 is more where we want to go in that area.
And also really short. Can you tell us how you write a Houston song?
Yeah, I usually just find for the Houston 4 I was at home with my son. I was on the parental leave, or what do you call it, and I could just go with the stroller and think of melodies, and I just record it on my phone, no, and I send it to Ricky, and he do something, and then I sing on it, and then I send it to Kalle, and he do some guitars on it.
Stroller works are the best for come up with ideas. I came up with 5 pieces for songs one time. So.
But do you remember them? Like you needed like a recorder or something then?
Three of them are on our next album.
Yeah, you have a phone.
Yeah, of course.
But there's some good melodies and songs usually come exactly when I'm supposed to go to sleep. Like I'm soon falling asleep and I hear something in my head.
Yep.
I really should get up and record this, but then I won't be tired anymore and I can sleep and now we'll be tired.
When
the
you're
day
in
after.
between dimensions.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's
Something
when it
happens.
And also really short, I read that you write lyrics, but you're not the main lyricist in the band?
No. It's Ricky who has always been the main lyricist, and he's really so good at it. And I mean, it's if I were, I can write some lyrics. They won't be as good, but they'll have some other value. And he also usually, especially on this album, the fourth, he took my lyrics and he like switched them around a bit like a producer should. So he used most of my lyrics and he just put it all together. But I could also, sometimes I feel like, okay, I could write the lyrics, I can finish the lyrics, but he will change them anyway. So there's no point.
No.
Like this will take me 2 or 3 days. It takes 20 minutes for him to do it because it's like so. He writes so many songs. He writes songs on daily basis. I do it for albums for 3 years until next time. So.
And should we also ask the same question to Lea?
What was the question?
The question is about
the music and the albums,
and how they developed your sound from the first album to the latest.
With Metalite or?
Yeah, with Metalite.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Well, I think Metalite is maturing, and it's still maturing, and I think we are getting better and better and better, and always like more finding our sweet spot.
Right.
But still, you have to like change it up. You can't do another album that's exactly like the previous one and make it better. I mean, you have to evolve.
Right.
So I think we're evolving, but we're still keeping the same feeling or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Sound-wise, do you change? I mean, keyboards or what?
No, we haven't. We sound pretty much like the first one.
Right.
It's better. It's better songs. Better. I mean, everything is better. Gets better and better. But we still have the same producer and the same. Like we make the songs the same way, and we're just making more songs and better songs. I think.
Right.
It's just about to finding new ways to express your music and yourself, but still keeping the same vibe. That's
exactly.
That's
and I think like in Metalite, it's Edvin who writes the songs. So I think he's like gets inspired by new things all the time, and I would. You asked what kind of music we play. How I would describe it.
Also, right.
I would say. What do you say, Robin? How do you describe our music in Metalite?
Well,
party metal.
Well, I refer to Edvin. I think he calls it power metal or modern power metal.
It is power metal, but it's
a
party,
lot of melodies.
like it's happy, like
I party to it.
Yes, exactly.
and it is really good. I haven't heard that much, but I listened to the songs that when we were working on this podcast episode. But I feel ashamed to say it, but my biggest band that I know in that genre is like. So I was like, oh, this sounds a bit like Nightwish, but I mean, it sounds flat. Maybe to say that, but I
not really. I think that's a big influence among many for Edvin. I think, but I think one thing. Now I'm answering the question, but one thing that is kind of funny with Metalite, I think, when you talk about evolving, is that I'm pretty sure I'm correct in this, that the first song that Edvin wrote for Metalite was the first metal song he wrote at all, and that was Afterlife, and he got a record deal, and that was the first single. Yeah. So the first album, those 10 songs, that's the first 10 songs he ever wrote in that genre. So obviously he's gonna evolve as a songwriter because he hadn't had much practice, but he still wrote great songs. But you know, at the beginning of your writing career, you probably evolved quite a lot.
Yeah, exactly. And you do all the time. I mean, you're not the same person you were 5 years ago or 10 or 15 years ago. You evolve and you improve, hopefully, and you change. I mean, that's part of life. And also the music change. And it's like some bands you can really like tell that something happened between the albums.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like when a new album comes out and it's totally different. And people always have a hard time with change.
Yep.
People always have a hard time. So it's always hard, like going out of your comfort zone, but I think it's necessary for all bands to evolve. I don't think you can, like, you can't say, like, we're gonna make a new album, it's gonna be like the previous one, but better. You can't do that. It's a new album, and it's new music, and just keep on evolving and be creative and stuff, and if people don't like it, fuck it. I mean, you're still true to yourself.
I think some bands maybe come to a point where they feel that they painted themselves into a corner, and we have to try something new and drastic. I think like a good example for that maybe of course. No, the Judas Priest the Turbo album.
Yeah.
Very very high tech, very very. What would we say? It's synth driven, but it's no synths or keyboards. It's just those for that time modern guitar effects that sounds like keyboards and the drums that sounds like a drum machine and stuff like that. And I don't know what the reactions, how the reactions were when it came out, because it was kind of different to the two previous albums. But whenever people talk about it, when I talk to Judas Priest fans today, people love it because it's so different, but it's really really good songs.
And the thing is, you can't make that epic album without going out on a limb.
No,
you have to dare to do it.
Yeah,
you have to be modig.
But how's your fans?
We have to be brave.
And
your fans don't like change.
No, but the thing is, if you change, you should just change and change music. Like
or Linkin Park is probably the best example. Like everybody loved the. Doom, 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 doom. What's the album called?
Hybrid Theory.
Yeah. And their biggest crime ever is not making another Hybrid Theory album, according to the fans.
Okay,
yeah, because they wanted more of the same.
So
but
sad.
I mean, that's not going to happen with bands.
No.
I mean, bands evolve.
But don't you get that mostly from bands that have like immense success with one album, like Def Leppard?
I was just thinking about that.
Yeah, and Linkin Park, as you said, people will never be satisfied with whatever they do.
No.
But if you take a band like, obviously, we always go back to Kiss, but there's also bands like AC/DC who doesn't necessarily have one hit song. I mean, sure, Back in Black is a huge album, and I mean, it's a hit album, but it's not. They didn't have like a defining hit.
No, at the moment, maybe it grew on the world. I mean, Highway to Hell is obviously one of the most famous songs in the world.
Yeah.
But maybe when they released it, it wasn't an instant hit.
Yeah.
And a lot of those major big rock or heavy metal hit songs, they are almost like pop songs today because they went so commercial and popular. I mean, you can air Highway to Hell on the radio, 8 o'clock in the Saturday morning when old people are doing the crosswords and stuff like that. And Melody, it's called Melodikrysset in Swedish, because I think it has reached that high level of commercial success, and I think that's good, because I mean, rock and heavy metal has always been, the music of the youth and the music that used to like. What can I say? Stand up to the man and stuff like that. And I think you know what I mean.
Probably say like the world is evolving, and human is evolving. If you're not evolving with the evolution, you're devolving.
Right.
So just evolve.
Yeah, good point.
TM.
Yeah.
So
But I like to go back a bit and find out how you end up in Metalite, and we didn't really get to how you get into Imber either.
I started Imber.
Yeah.
I just like one day. The thing is, I tried to start all-female metal band because I was working in. I was working with a lot of youth back then. In Sweden we have like a thing where we have like summer camps for kids, and they can come learn an instrument, get in a band with other girls or whatever persons, and we created like safe spaces for young women and non-binary people to start bands and start playing.
And when was this?
This was about 2009 or something. It was a thing called Pop Collo.
All right.
And it was like 1.5 week, and all these young girls and transgender kids came, and they lived there for 1.5 week, and
like
we teach them to teach them to play all the different instruments, and then they got to pick an instrument, and we put them into bands. We taught them how to make songs, how to record them, and then finally had a big concert for them. We recorded music videos and everything. And I just thought, like, I just listened to these young persons and why they haven't started playing sooner. And I knew that, like, they just need role models. There's no role models. Like, everyone in metal is a man.
But did you get a lot from those, for example, girls on those summer camps saying like, yeah, I've always liked rock, but I didn't think I was allowed?
No, because they all heard from their families or from the media or from the school or from friends that, yeah, you can, oh, this is so cute, you want to play metal or you want to do this and this. And they're like, what the fuck, I can do it as good as you can. Yeah. And I knew that, like, they need role models, and there are no role models for like women in metal.
I mean, but you really have to look for it. I mean, it's not as accessible as it should be. Of course there
are, but you have to look for it, and that's the thing. Yeah. Like, you have to really look for it. Yeah. And I thought, like, it should be thrown in your face, and it has to be shown. It has to get airtime and everything. And so I thought, like, the only thing I can do is to try to create that band. I can't do any more than that. So I did it. And at first I had auditions for guitarists and bass players and everything. And I probably auditioned like 40 guitarists. And it was like, I mean, there were 2 types of guitarists coming. The one that thought, like, I'm the best guitarist in the world, and they usually sucked. And then there was like, no, I don't think I can, and they didn't show up, and they were usually the really good ones. Right. So I started Imber, and the thing is, I started another band first, but they sucked so bad, so I couldn't keep on playing. I'm not going to say what their name is because they're pretty big now.
That band is still active.
They're still active, and they have a lot of songs out, but they sucked ass. And the first album we did, I played drums, guitars, bass, and everything, and made all the songs. But they like, oh, I played the guitar.
But are they good now?
No.
Oh, okay.
But anyway, then I found these people to start Imber, and that's why I started it, just to inspire other people.
But it's my impression with Imber that despite I mean that it was sort of like a short-lived thing. Like, but you didn't release like a lot of music, but you made a big impact.
We made a big impact, but it wasn't a short thing like people think, because a lot of people think that. But the thing is,
because of the amount
we made so much good songs, and we recorded. I have like maybe 170 songs or something.
Wow.
Imber songs. on my computer. And the thing is, the record companies, that was the problem. Like
they wanted these EPs.
No, because they were like, because we were a female band, they were more into like how we looked, how we dressed, our image. They didn't care about our music, but the audience loved our music.
But didn't they at the very least want a product to be able to sell?
Yes, they did. And the product was our singer. So all these labels and record companies tried to get our singer to stop
a solo?
Stop with the band and come to the record company, and they wanted to produce like a new thing with her.
Oh, okay.
Because they wanted men to be like in the band.
But you released 2 EPs, right?
We released
and a couple of singles.
Yeah, the thing is, we didn't really release anything for real because we never got that deal, you know. But we released it ourselves.
Okay. Yeah.
But we had a lot of material. We could do like 4 full-length albums.
Because I obviously I went back and listened to some of your songs on Spotify.
Yeah.
And it was quite impressive the amount of listeners a month that you still have.
Yeah.
Like because when did you quit? When did the band?
It's a long time ago. It's like 8 years ago. Like, and people still come up to me. I mean, I play in Metalite now.
Yeah.
And maybe like if I go out now, people like one person come up to me and say like, "Aren't you the drummer for Metalite?" And I'm like, "Yeah." But like 5 people come up to me and say like, "Imber, what the fuck? Please, you reunite. Oh, we need you." And
see,
it's like,
that's what I mean. It's weird and it's a little bit sad that there's no full-length album out.
Yeah, and we were the only band like playing Sweden Rock Festival and all these big festivals and doing tours, Europe tours and stuff, and we never had a record deal.
And so where are you, everyone now? Like I know where you are.
Yeah, I'm here.
But where did you all go? What happened?
It's a long story and it's a bit traumatic, so I'm not going to go into it because I don't want to like say something about someone that's not true. I don't know, but
But most of them are not in music.
No, none of them. Just me.
Yeah.
Okay, I got a short question for both of you. What do you prefer the most, being on tour or being in the studio?
Being on tour all the time.
Yes.
What's the weirdest thing you have on your rider? Or what's the most important thing?
You guys have riders?
Oh, you're so professional.
If you had one.
If I had one...
Which color of the M&Ms do you prefer?
Blue.
How many
You take the blue or the red pill?
Red pill, yeah.
No, I don't have anything on my rider.
Green, of course.
Oh, here you go. I got
No, I don't have a rider. I don't need anything.
Well, we want beer.
Yeah, of course, beer, but you can buy beer yourself.
Yeah,
you know?
I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I just want to play for people.
So what's the best gig and what's the saddest gig you've done?
Can I start?
Sure.
The worst gig I had I played in a grunge band called Madly Riot. I guess like 2007 or something.
That sounds familiar.
Yeah, and we played at a frat house.
Oh yeah.
You know, like a university, like yeah. And we got free booze. And we didn't know what Long Island iced tea was. We thought it was a drink with iced tea and a little bit of vodka in it.
A little bit
but it
of
wasn't.
everything.
And we found out it wasn't. So luckily I didn't drink it, but the other ones in the band drank it. And they didn't drink only one, they drank a lot. Oh. So like when it was time to go on stage, they were so drunk they couldn't see, like their eyes were like this and they couldn't see the tuning pedal. So they couldn't tune and they were drooling and stuff and they were falling off the stage.
So classic.
And it was not a good gig.
Speaking of alcohol, do you have like a limit in your band of how much you can drink before hitting the stage?
I think like people have different limits. So you don't drink more than you can
handle.
I mean,
Handle
we're
your
professionals.
instrument, right?
Maybe like you can drink alcohol-free beer before the gig or something.
So that answers my question. You
Yeah.
drink before a gig.
No, not that much.
Okay.
What about
Not
Hank?
as a drummer.
I think I
Like-
drink the most.
You do.
I think so.
Just to lose the tension.
I mean, I don't have to, but now I mean, like, I don't get out that much, so it's more like that, you know, because my son is 2.5 years. So
Yeah.
when I do get out, like, and if you play at Herbie James, you go on stage 12:30,
Yep.
and
Yeah.
like, so I, it's all those times I've like waited with beer till after the gig, and then you didn't get to drink any beer because
Because
the club's closing.
the rest of the band
Yeah, and
already
it's so,
drank it.
and
all.
everybody's so drunk, and you're like, yeah, and you have to be nice, like, and then it takes the fun out of it. So I try to keep it on a good level. But,
I actually have a question about your about the sound of Houston, the AOR melodic thing. When you guys started in 2009, there wasn't many young AOR bands around. As a matter of fact, I don't think there was like any. With Lovestain, you of course you had the melodic sound, and
we had
I personally
keyboards and stuff like that.
and I personally really liked you guys because I'm from the same musical background. I love the AOR melodic rock and stuff like that. But going back to Houston, because as you described, you had the Foreigner and the Survivor, the really early '80s sound.
Yeah.
Did you feel that you probably had an audience waiting for that kind of sound, or did you just feel that this is what we love, this is what we want to do, let's do it, and see what comes out of it?
Yeah, it was a little bit of both, actually. It was the whole idea of Houston was like we love so much music, like Journey, the Raised on Radio album and stuff like that, and there's a lot of, not a lot, but some AOR bands, and Frontiers has them all, and they all sound the same, and no band sounds like the records that we're listening to. So, I mean, we can't be the only one who feels like they want to listen to a band that sounds like they came out of 1981. So, but since there wasn't that many retro-sounding AOR bands, so we were among the first. And the same year, Ghost came along with their retro sound.
Yeah.
Rival Sons came along with their retro sound. So it was like we came in a good place there. And of course, Journey's Don't Stop Believing came back as #1 on their hit charts again. So it was
Stars aligned.
Stars aligned back in
you got some good
2010,
hype
11.
when you released
Yeah, we had a great hype. We got the best number one AOR album in classic rock from the UK. So that gave us the push to play Sweden Rock Festival and play a Download Festival and do a tour with Crash Diet, etc., etc.
Yeah, because
So-
speaking of that, when kind of this 80s retro thing came along, it came back around 2005 with Crash Diet and stuff, and it just all went away. So it was like until then, the only kind of music and the only kind of bands with the 80s vibe, it was only the sleaze bands and rock and roll bands. So something happened around there, and I personally think Houston was one of the first bands who really really took the big step, and
You started the wave.
yeah.
Well, Heat. As
Yeah,
well.
yeah, Heat, of course.
You started the heat
yeah.
wave.
Yeah.
We started that way. Yeah, they were actually. I think they were 2 years before us. I think it was 2008. They came up with their first album.
Yeah,
and
they had demos out already in 2007.
Yeah.
And I was listening to them.
so Heat was a big deal for everybody.
yeah, of course.
But they were always like some weird. They tried to compare us that much. Like there couldn't be two good AOR bands. They had to be like one.
Right.
Like if you're a Heat fan or a Houston fan, and we actually played the same day at Download Festival, and then we DJ'd together. But it was like it was bad blood or something.
But it's
Like,
the same for you. Like we already booked an AOR band.
yeah, but I mean they were like I think they did their second album, and they didn't get the attention they wanted, and then we came along and were hyped at the moment. I don't know if it was jealousy or what it was. But, I have nothing but love for Heat, but I was just sad they don't felt the same love for
At
me.
the time, they were more like competition than camaraderie.
Yeah, it's always been so competitive. So it's like all the bands just talked shit about the other bands. Like, don't go see them; they suck.
But
when we could have just joined forces. And
Yeah,
it would be
exactly.
much
you
better.
should have went on a combined tour or something.
Yeah, but
and at this point,
didn't
when
want-
there's so many bands in between, like, I think the two of you have gone further apart. Like, now their sound is sort of over here and you guys over here. I wouldn't put...
But I think they came back. I mean, as I said with Houston, how the sound differs from the first album.
Right.
Like, they also painted themselves kind of into a corner, and they had to do something different because they were already like among the biggest AOR bands, and they always headlined the second day at all the festivals. So they wanted to branch out, and they made like the Divide something. The album
Into the Unknown.
Into the Unknown.
Into the Great Unknown.
Into the Great Unknown.
2017.
Yeah. So which were more like I feel because they thought many thought that there was too much of a pop album, and they wanted to branch out like and get a bigger audience, and I get that. We did the same thing with Houston. We tried to do something different because we already had the amount of fans that was available.
Yeah.
They took some new steps on that one.
But now they're back to Heat 2.
Yep.
I know it's a fantastic album, but I mean, they're back, and now we'll see where they go. And we kind of wanted to go back to basics a bit, like the first album, but we wanted to mix in a bit of synthwave and retrowave sound to it. So we keep the Survivor thing, but we also mix it with some of that.
Yeah, but that's the problem too when you're working in a genre where the fan base isn't that big. So even if you're the biggest in that genre, you're still not that big.
Exactly.
So you have to take another step if you're gonna.
And the fans you already have don't like that.
No, that's what we're talking about.
And many fan bases, they tend to be very picky also about what they do like and don't. So it's pretty hard to combine what comes out of your own heart and what goes on for the fans.
You asked about the worst and best gigs as well. I don't have a special worst gig. I have done a lot of bad gigs and where I have been unprepared or not done my vocal warm-ups very well. I mean, I've been lazy, so I would never make a good guitarist or something because I don't practice that much. I go on lots of raw talent.
You can be a bass player.
That's what I said. I wanted to be a bass player in a punk band, so you can you don't have to practice that much, or you can drink beer and you can be sick. I mean, if I get a flu, I can sing the songs because I need 100% of my ability. So, but the best gig is definitely the Download Festival gig in 2011. It was a big stage and it was really you felt like a rock star. And we came.
But it wasn't as good as Firefest.
No, it wasn't.
No,
the Firefest gig wasn't as good as that one.
So speaking of potato chips, as Gene once said, I don't know if this is like a rumor, but you had like a drinking game I wrote on the internet containing absinthe and pesto. Is that a true story?
I don't know. would I remember that after that drink?
it doesn't sound likely.
That sounds like something we did at Fapes in Zinkensdamm, if so.
Maybe you were doing it as you did the interview, talking about it.
Yeah,
and now
maybe. I did have a drinking game with Mr. Big at the Download Festival.
Cool.
Because they were some of our heroes. And they actually, when we had to leave the dressing room, they came in the door and they were having our dressing room. We were like, what the fuck? It's Erik Modin, it's Billy Sheehan, etc. Yeah, so.
I've always wanted a room full of dressing.
Yeah. Close the door, I'm dressing.
Don't go into my dressing room naked.
So, speaking of future plans for both your bands, would you say something, Lea?
Well, I think the primary goal is world domination.
Well,
start small.
We got something on that already.
I don't know.
He's working on it.
Just making more songs and the biggest part, just going out to play to people. Because there's so many people out there, like saying like you have to come here and play, and we're like the only thing we want to do is go there and play, but we need like the supporting fans and everything, and we just that's the only thing we want to go out.
We just had
and
like
play.
a pandemic for 2.5 years. So.
Yeah.
It's exactly the same that we wanted to do as well, but
Yeah.
it's just hard. Like all the festivals already booked for people who did albums 2 years ago. So
Yeah,
we're like,
exactly.
it's so in 1 or 2 years maybe we can play a festival.
Yeah.
When they're like we're
No,
caught up.
it's like all the venues are fully booked for the coming year.
Yeah,
And
and
that's
as
how
you
it
said,
is.
the festivals, they reschedule, but they keep the lineup.
Yeah.
So even though you released an album last year, you're still not in line to
Exactly.
play
So
the
you have
festival.
to you have to
Exactly.
hope you were booked at a festival in 2019.
Yes.
Because otherwise you don't have any
Then you're
gigs
hot.
2022.
Exactly.
That's how it is actually now.
But-
So
But Metalite got some tours and stuff happening, I think. And
we had one tour rescheduled to 2023 also.
Can't wait.
So, no.
literally, I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you Houston have any gigs booked?
No, nothing at the moment. We
Then I'm gonna book
we
you.
hope. Yes, you should. We should play together more.
Yes.
And now I've got a new Hank Erix band since
Yeah,
today,
exactly.
So maybe we can do
Yeah,
something.
we should talk a bit about that. You will soon get to hear us performing 2 songs. It's one song from your solo album, the Hank Erix album.
Mhm.
I kind of forgot the name of it.
Turn to Darkness.
Turn to
It's the
Darkness.
opening track of
Yeah.
my debut album of songs that I wrote during the Houston years, and they were too heavy for Houston. So
And your voice has been described as sort of a David Coverdale style. So I asked you to, both of you, to do a Whitesnake song here today as well.
Yeah.
And I just thought that maybe I could pick one that I really like. So, and you agreed to do it graciously. It was from Slide It In album called Standing in the Shadows. And yeah, you guys played great.
It's your
Okay.
pod. You get
Yeah.
to decide. It's
Well,
okay.
You can't say no, but you didn't.
no.
And we had
Didn't
some
have to.
help from our
Mano.
friend, Mano Levis, the brilliant guitar player. What can we say about Mano? He's out there. He's shredding.
He's available.
Really
Yeah.
good looking Les
His
Paul
number
guitar.
is-
and
Lads,
he's
ladies,
a
and
badass
everything in between.
guitarist.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
book,
yeah,
book
but
him for
you'll hear him.
something.
Yeah, if you
Yeah.
need a guitarist,
Don't take him. We
Mano.
need
Yeah.
him.
And if you need
Yeah.
someone on tambourine, Erik Modin is your guy.
And backing vocals. And also, I wanted to tell you the release party story because I got a bit of a confession to make.
really, I've been wanting to hear this.
You have to do
I've
that.
been building this up since I heard it earlier
Yeah,
today.
well, the thing is, you had your release party at Harry B. James, and it was a Friday night, I believe. And I was working till 11 o'clock in the evening, and you were starting at midnight or sometime after that.
We hoped to start at midnight.
Yeah. And the day after, I was going to do 3 music videos in one day. 2 with Captain Blackbeard and 1 with Weapon. Because, you know, there's plenty of hours in a day, so why not use them?
Yeah.
And we were going to borrow the stage at Harry B. James. And so the guy in charge said, well, I'm doing a gig on Friday night. Why don't you come by and I'll show you how the lights work really quick. And I'm like, but I'm going to get up like super early but then I realized I'm working anyway. So I just go straight from work. And so I finished work and I got to Harry B. James at like, I don't know, 11:30, just shortly before you're supposed to play. And you saw me and you came up and said, oh, hi, how cool of you to come to a release party. Thank you for your support. And you gave me a hug and you were on your way. You had plenty of things to do and lots of people to shake hands with. And I didn't have the heart to tell you, like, I'm just going to talk to the lightning guy and I'm going to be on my way because I'm going to get up in like 5 hours. Because when we started I think we started at 6 in the morning because we wanted to shoot.
So I tripped you into staying.
You didn't.
Did you get to buy an album
I
too?
didn't see the show.
No.
No.
And I didn't have the heart to tell you that I was only there for 15 minutes, and I missed.
That's cool.
And if we wouldn't have met there, I would have let you thought that I was there. And if we would have met like a year from now, I would have said, "Oh, that release party, what a show!"
Speaking about your release party and your soul album, you were actually kind enough to include one songs that I actually wrote years ago.
You were kind enough to let me take dibs on that.
Yeah,
for ages.
Yeah, the song is called "Way to Go," and it was actually the very first AOR song I ever wrote. When I was started to really to get really into that genre. Just felt that okay, I want to try to write something similar, and that song came out of it, very much inspired by "Beat the Bullet" by Danger, and it never found its home in any band or project or something like that. But you really liked it.
We both have strong love for Danger.
Yeah.
And the first time I heard Danger, it was "Beat the Bullet" on YouTube live in Tokyo or something like that.
Same here.
And I just felt at home when I heard it. Like, oh, so you can do AOR music like this, because all the other stuff I've heard was like Steelheart or was Mötley Crüe or stuff like that, and I won't be able to sing like that. But then I heard Ted Poland. He's a good singer, but he's not inhumane or something like this Steelheart or stuff like that. So I just and the songs were like it was just about happiness, and it was all a good time, and there was great solos, great vocals, and everything. So I just fell in love, and then you made a song that could easily have been on a Danger album.
But that gets,
and I wanted it.
That also gets us to like other projects apart from the obvious used in a Metalite, because I saw that you sometimes do a Danger tribute band, or is that in the past?
yeah.
With the Love Stain Boys?
Yeah.
Most of them or all of them?
Yeah, it was Marcus and Sufjan and me, and then it's so it's kind of it's Houston with Marcus basically instead of Oscar. So but I thought everybody in the Rock Stockholm, like who went to Herbie James in 2006 to 2011, they like Danger as much as we do, and we figured that would bring a lot of people who don't come there that much anymore to come back. So, and it actually happened. It was you were there. You actually sang with me. No, you
no,
didn't?
it was on your release party.
Yeah, it was a release party.
Yeah.
Did you bring the tambourine?
I'm confused.
No, I didn't.
No.
I forgot it at home.
No. But it was a lot of people I haven't seen in years who came for the Danger tribute, and some of them didn't even know it was us. So it was just a bonus.
Oh, cool.
So. And actually, Rob Marcello walked into Herbie James and saw the posters. Like, what? What are you doing? A tribute on my band? Oh my god! And Ove, who's the booker, and he met him and he saw that, and it was like he became so silly. Like he saw that and he got so like humbled and so. But so I when I heard it, I asked him to come and play, but he couldn't.
Well, that's funny.
That would have been cool.
Yeah,
really.
And you got some projects coming up. Can you talk about them, or are they not official yet?
I don't know really.
Yeah.
I haven't talked about that, but I am gonna guest in another band for 2022.
And when it's official, people will know about it, because
I think
it's not very low key.
No, it's not that low key.
No.
But it's punk rock. It's party rock.
Exciting.
And I'm gonna go out and play drums. Come on. Yeah, it's gonna be nice.
Great. Yeah.
I'm really glad I got that.
Yeah.
Exciting stuff.
Well,
I just want to play music, you know.
We all do.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thank you for coming to the podcast. I think it's time for us to wrap it up. We've been at it for a while. Apart from talking, we've been playing and hanging out. And we're talking even before the podcast. Even though I told you guys, save it for the podcast.
No talking before the podcast.
You can't get to know each other before the podcast. You're ruining it.
Don't introduce yourself to each other.
Yes. But anyway, thank you so much for doing this. We didn't know what to expect. This is new to us, but yeah.
Any last words or?
Oh, I hope this won't be my last.
Like last for the podcast.
Okay. Sorry.
Well, it's been great to know you guys a bit better, and hopefully we see you in the future.
And hopefully I don't have to do a podcast to get to meet you. Maybe we can start rehearsing and playing again.
Yeah, you can come to the rehearsals, Robert.
Well, I'm quite busy. I got a new podcast, you see.
No, Robert is the most
You got a new
hardworking
band?
person I've ever met. So please listen to this podcast and spread the word around, so he doesn't have to go.
You cannot say that about a bass player. I'm not the hardest
But
working
you're
guy.
not just a bass player, Robert. You're so much more than that.
Well, thank you. We should talk about you guys.
Yeah, but the thing is, I just want to leave you with the phrase, fuck the norm.
He died. It's very sad.
Norm?
Norm MacDonald. Oh, you weren't referring to him.
I don't know who that is.
Sorry.
Fuck the norm.
Yes.
Just go
We're
your
not
own
normal.
way.
Well, that's a great message. Go your own way, because that's the only way you'll be truly happy, I think.
Exactly, that's how it is. Be proud of yourself.
Well, now you got some inspiring words. Thank you all.
Thank you.
And good night.
Thank you very much.
Thanks. Bye.
Bye.
And now you play the jingle.
Yes.
Sverker, are you still awake?
I think it's a
If you are, it's a Christmas miracle.
I kan spela upp